From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Pakistani officials plan to name a school and a sports center for a student who stopped a suicide bomber. 15-year-old Aitazaz Hassan saved hundreds of other students at his high school earlier this year. The school is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Police said Aitazaz Hassan saw the bomber moving toward the building's entrance. The attacker looked suspicious to Aitazaz, who tried to stop him. That is when the bomb exploded. The attacker was killed, and Aitazaz died later in a hospital. The student's older brother noted that Aitazaz often said he would fight if he came face to face with a suicide bomber. Provincial Governor Shauqatullah Khan visited the home of the boy. He announced an award for the family of about $47,000. Governor Khan told VOA that the sacrifice of children like Aitazaz Hassan is a cause for national pride and a great honor for his village. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif declared earlier that the student should be honored with Pakistan's highest award for bravery. Reports say the honor is expected to be presented to the boy's family on March 23rd. Pakistani education activist Malala Yousafzai expressed deep regret about the death of Aitazaz Hassan. She spoke from Britain. She lives there now after surviving a Taliban attack. She said she was pleased to belong to a country where brave people like Aitazaz Hassan are born. Malala has gained worldwide praise for her opposition to militants and her support for the rights of women. Her book, I Am Malala, is an international bestseller. But heads of private schools in Pakistan have banned it. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Young people are perhaps better known for spending money than for saving it, but some new banking websites are seeking to change that. These websites offer young people the information and tools they need to watch over their money. These sites also let users share their financial experiences with other young people. Michael Ferrari developed SmartyPig with a friend in 2007. SmartyPig is really all about helping people save for very specific financial goals. So that could be a wedding, a vacation, an iPhone. Mr. Ferrari says SmartyPig began after he started a college savings account for his new baby. He says that experience helped him realize the power of saving for a specific goal. Helping other savers pay attention to their goals is the idea behind his company. Mr. Ferrari says his website also enables outsiders to add money to the accounts of its users. Perhaps maybe a holiday is coming up or your birthday is coming up, and rather than getting a gift, your friends, your family can actually contribute to any of your SmartyPig goals. A growing number of young people have shown an interest in personal finance sites like SmartyPig. These sites offer tools that help users follow their spending, set up a budget, and combine their investments. And the sites all involve social media. Janet Staubel is with the personal finance website bankrate.com. She says a lot of people feel at ease sharing personal information online. It's not likely that, you might go to a friend and say, "Hey, I paid off $1,000 on my credit card today." But people write up blog posts about it, and they explain how they did it and how much closer they are to their financial goal, whatever it is. Steve Weissman teaches about financial issues at Bentley University in Waltham, Massachusetts. He says the more creative the websites are in providing services, the more successful they will be in competing against traditional banks or even cooperating with them. For instance, SmartyPig. They are not actually a bank, but they are partnered with a bank. And what you're going to see is big banks and little banks that are legitimate financial institutions, but not necessarily the most savvy when it comes to computers or the internet. They will partner up with other companies that may be doing some of the web material and other assistance. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
I'm Mario Ritter with the VOA Special English Education Report. Michelle Rhee had never led a school system before she came to the public schools in Washington, D.C. in 2007. By the end of the following year, she was on the cover of Time. The magazine recognized her as a national leader in education reform. And now, Miss Rhee appears in the film Waiting for Superman, a documentary about problems in the American education system. Ms. Rhee closed underperforming schools in Washington. She dismissed hundreds of teachers and administrators, including the principal at her daughter's school. She angered the teachers' union and teachers who were traditionally protected in permanent jobs. She said they were not doing a good enough job. She negotiated a new labor contract that measures teacher success based in part on student performance. Many of her actions were the same as those supported nationally by the Department of Education and President Obama. But in October, Michelle Rhee announced she will leave her job after almost 3.5 years. She said Washington's next mayor, Vincent Gray, should be able to start with someone of his own choice. Democrats in Washington nominated Mr. Gray over Mayor Adrian Fenty in September. People can argue about why Mayor Fenty lost after one term. But for many voters, one reason was his hiring of Michelle Rhee and his support for her aggressive reforms. Public opinion studies showed a racial divide. A majority of whites, but only a third of blacks, thought the public schools have improved. Close to 70% of whites told the Washington Post that Ms. Rhee was a reason to support Mayor Fenty. But more than half of blacks saw her as a reason to vote against him. Mr. Gray and Mr. Fenty are both African American, as are 3 out of 4 students in the District of Columbia Public Schools. Mr. Gray promises to continue school reform efforts. Ms. Rhee's leadership team will remain until the end of the school year. Her deputy, Kaya Henderson, is taking her place, at least for now. It is unclear what Michelle Rhee will do next. Shortly after her announcement, she launched a website, michellerhee.org. She says she will continue her efforts for education reform, and she is asking people to share ideas. She also says she wants to live closer to her future husband, Kevin Johnson, the mayor of Sacramento, California. For VOA Special English, I'm Mario Ritter.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report in Special English. Common Sense Media is a nonprofit group in the United States that studies children's use of media and technology. The group has done a survey asking teachers about the effects of their students' use of entertainment media. Entertainment media includes TV shows, music, video games, texting, social networks, apps, and other technology that students use for fun. Many teachers said they believe media use has hurt academic performance, which in some cases was already weak. Vicki Rideout wrote the report for Common Sense Media. She said nearly 4 out of 10 teachers said their students were just fair or poor at reading, communication, math, and science. More said their students were only fair at writing. The survey involved 685 teachers from around the country in kindergarten through 12th grade. They included both new and experienced teachers and teachers in high and low income areas. 71% of the teachers said they believe students' use of entertainment media has reduced their ability to pay attention in class. And almost 60% said it has hurt their writing skills. Many teachers said they believe their students' media use has also hurt their social development. They said the biggest problem was that media negatively affected students' ideas about relationships between the sexes and toward parents and teachers. They said media use encourages aggression and antisocial behavior. Teachers who believed media use harms social development were more likely to describe themselves as uncomfortable with new technologies. For VOA Learning English, I'm Lily.
This is the VOA Special English Education Report. One World Education is a nonprofit group based in Washington. The group has a program in which teachers develop curriculum based on student writing. The students are in middle and high school and write essays about culture and international issues. Students are invited to write about an issue they find important. Then professionally developed learning materials based on chosen essays are used in schools to teach other students. Eric Goldstein is the executive director of One World Education. He says the essays can serve as a writing and learning guide for students. His group has worked with over 1,500 student writers over the past 4 years. Mr. Goldstein is himself a former classroom teacher. He and another teacher, Emily Chariello, began forming plans for One World Education in 2006. The group publishes a study unit each month from August through May. Each unit of curriculum starts with a chosen essay called a One World Reflection. Mr. Goldstein says the subjects have ranged from single parenthood to protecting rainforests to exploring Arab cultures. He says students have written One World reflections on women in the Muslim world, on Islamic media, on Arab media, and on Arab identity. One student wrote about being Muslim and how she appears to other people in her neighborhood. Leila Kunesh of Washington wrote about her feeling that the media in the United States are often unfair to Muslims. A learning activity based on her reflection called for students to collect examples of media stories and discuss whether or not that was true. Leila was chosen as a One World Student Ambassador last year. 12 are chosen each year. Their reflections are published on the group's website, along with learning activities linked to common reading and writing standards used for testing. Isabel Nampakwa Kapotwe of Zambia was also chosen as a student ambassador. She wrote about Zambia's cultural traditions, its languages, religions, and tourist attractions. But she also wrote about poverty and disease and how, after her parents died, her grandmother made a home for the remaining family. One activity based on her reflection called for research into the care given by grandparents as heads of households in today's society. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. For more about education, go to our website, voaspecialenglish.com.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Should girls go to school only with other girls? Is it better for boys to attend all boys schools? Educators at a school for girls in Washington, D.C. believe children do better in classes of the same sex. But other experts say there is no real evidence to support that idea. They believe there are other, more important things that make a school effective. Excel Academy is the first all-girls school in Washington, D.C. that is independently operated and supported by taxpayers. It opened its doors in 2008. One of its students is 10-year-old Anaira Clavijo, and Ira attended kindergarten in a classroom with boys. She has now been at Excel for the last 5 years. And Ira says boys have different interests than girls. She praises her school, saying the staff makes her feel like the smartest person in the world. The Excel Academy provides free education to children from families without much money. It serves more than 600 girls from preschool through grade 5. 3 meals are served each day. Kay Savage established the school and is its leader. She says that when boys and girls are taught together, the teachers teach for the boys. She says boys are a little louder and much more active than the girls. She says she believes that makes girls second-class citizens in their schools. Elaine Weiss is an education expert at the Economic Policy Institute. She believes other considerations besides same-sex classes have a bigger effect on success in school. She says everything that happens in children's early development is important. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Two-year colleges in the United States are also known as community colleges. Students earn an associate degree, or they can train for a job for a year or two and get a certificate. Community colleges are less costly than other schools. Some international students can even get a year of education for free. The United States government and the colleges pay the costs in a program called the Community College Initiative. 6 countries took part during the first 2 years: Brazil, Egypt, Indonesia, Pakistan, South Africa, and Turkey. Now those countries are joined by Cuba, Ghana, and most of Central America. Local Fulbright committees generally nominate the students. The program provides job training for people who otherwise could not attend college. They learn skills their countries need, like agriculture and healthcare. Vocational school teachers and administrators from Egypt can also receive professional development through the program. The program began 2 years ago with 84 students and 6 colleges. State Department officials say more than 500 students will attend 37 community colleges this fall. Where students are placed depends on what they want to study. The program is also a chance to learn about America and its people. And it gives colleges a way to expand their diversity. The students live in dormitories or apartments or with local families. Carol Stacks Brown is an administrator of the program for a group called Community Colleges for International Development. She says they look for people who have had some work experience, speak some English, and want to experience another culture. The program includes English classes in the summer before school starts for those who need them. Carol Stacks Brown says colleges in some countries might accept credits from the program. But this is not a way to immediately transfer to 4-year colleges and universities in other countries, including the United States. Students cannot return to the United States for 2 years after they finish their year of study. A web page is being developed for information on the Community College Initiative. For now, students from countries in the program should contact their local Fulbright committee or United States Embassy. And that's the VOA Special English Education Report. Earlier reports in our Foreign Student Series are at voaspecialenglish.com. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. American librarians have announced their choices for Best Children's Books of 2014. One honored book is The Story of a Squirrel and an Imaginative Girl. Another is about trains. Deborah Taylor is a librarian at the Enoch Pratt Free Library in Baltimore, Maryland. She has served on several award committees. She says the committees look for good writing and good storytelling. The American Library Association's John Newbery Medal honors the writing of a book. Its Randolph Caldecott Medal honors the illustration or pictures of a book. This year, the Newbery Medal went to Flora and Ulysses, The Illuminated Adventures by Kate DiCamillo. It was her second work to win a Newbery. Flora and Ulysses is a humorous story about a squirrel and a girl who live in a world both real and unreal. The Caldecott Medal was awarded to Locomotive, a book by Brian Floca. It has been praised for its technical understanding and explanations of how things happen on a moving train. Librarians also give out other awards to books for children and young adults. For example, the Coretta Scott King Award goes to African American writers and illustrators for books about African American culture. This year's award went to Rita Williams Garcia for her book P.S. B11. The Robert F. Seibert Medal is for informational books. Parrots Over Puerto Rico by Susan Roth and Cindy Trumbore won the 2014 medal. Their book tells about how scientists and activists saved the local birds. Librarian Deborah Taylor says, the book shows Puerto Rico as it is not often seen. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carla Babb.